So you want to buy a factory here in China. You've heard about all the wonderful stories about everybody getting rich, and you think it's a great thing to do. And it is. It can be a very good thing to do. There's many opportunities here in China, especially if you're willing to take the time and effort to train people and get your people so that they can be much, much more efficient and put out much more product than they currently are. At this point in time, some of the Chinese factory owners are getting older. They started 20, 30 years ago. They've done a nice job. They've made their money. Sometimes their children don't want to follow in their footsteps, and so they want to sell. And so you see some good opportunities right now. So some important things to take a look at if you're a Westerner or even a Chinese themselves trying to buy a factory is one, up front, is this a business you're passionate of? If it is, something you can enjoy, something you can do a good job with, understand you're going to put a lot of time and effort into it. The second thing to look at is to take a walk with your consultant and say, hey, how much improvement can we make? I mean, if you just want to get a factory that's already doing great and doing really well and you're just going to take it over and slowly but surely make some money off of it, that's fine. But most of the business owners that I've found who want to buy new Chinese factories want to find a factory where a lot of improvements are possible. And so take a look at the manpower, the amount of inventory. Lots of inventory is good. You can improve that. Poor production techniques, that's good. You can improve that. Take a look at what you can do from the perspective of manpower reduction so you can save on cost, flow and throughput, capacity upgrades into the factory. Take a look at the supplier. Do you have good suppliers coming into you, and can you make good improvements in the supply base so that you don't have to hold a lot of inventory and get higher quality? The other thing to take a look at, of course, is who your customers are going to be. What will your customers think of you taking over? Can you give them a good plan? Are your customers happy with where they're at right now, or are they looking for a good excuse to leave? It might be smart for you before you buy the Chinese factory to talk to those customers and suggest to them what's going on and let them know. The other thing that will happen when you buy one is the operators will be nervous. They will be afraid that you're just going to change everything and get rid of them. You might have to spend some time, maybe even a little bit money with some lunches and dinners and conversations with them to keep the people there so they're willing to stay and understand that probably their life will improve, and also they'll be able to do much better for their families because of your ownership and your view for increasing value to the factory. The other thing to look at is maintenance. Are the machines that you're buying in good shape, or are they in bad shape? If you see oil on the floor, you see a lot of dust, you see open electrical outlets, make sure you understand that you might have to pay money to fix that. And you probably will have to pay money for fixing it. You might even have to replace some of those machines. So again, a walkthrough with a good manufacturing consultant who can explain to you some of those items will help you to know what it is that you need to do with those machines, if they're usable for the future, or if you're going to have to replace everything. Give you a better idea of cost. The other thing to find out, and this is very common in purchasing a Chinese factory, is who owns the factory. Frequently, the owner of the factory is the owner of the manufacturing is leasing the factory. And the guy who he's leasing the factory for might not know anything about what's going on in the factory. And when you lease it, he might come see his factory for the first time in years and find out that there's some problems. Make sure that the structures that were built on the factory by the previous owner, the person you're buying it from, are legal. Make sure they're okay. Make sure somebody doesn't want them torn down. Again, are there environmental concerns? Maybe you're painting there, you're using some kind of chemical, and the government doesn't know it's happening. And during the change of ownership, they're going to find out, and that could cause you a problem. It's good to make sure you have some government contacts. Somebody, maybe the old owner might want to stick around and be your government contact, or have somebody else. If you're not familiar with the local government, you could run into problems that the current owner has dealt with in certain ways that they won't let you deal with as a new person that they don't know. Something very, very important to take care of is make sure you understand the government situation, what your district allows and doesn't allow. And lastly, ensure that you have capital available, because when the owner leaves, he's going to take his inventory with him most likely, unless you buy it from him. You're going to have enough working capital to make sure that you can fill the plant with the product necessary, the work and process necessary to get it out. And then start working on getting new customers, growing and becoming more efficient. It can be a really exciting situation, can be a lot of fun. I've helped some people do that, make some evaluations, and it really is a nice situation for them, and they've done very well with it. So before you go in, make sure you have somebody who can help you take a good solid look, that you're buying the right thing for all the right reasons, and I think you can be very successful with buying a Chinese factory.